Madhava Kunja Vihara Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balaba Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balaba Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gora Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gora Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, from where we left off yesterday, which is text number 22 of the third chapter of the 9th canto. So I'll request you to open that verse on your phones, because we have a separate verse on the board. And I'll go till the end of the chapter. You don't have a phone, so you'll have to repeat after me. Or you can take my phone. My phone? Yeah, let's open. SB. Actually, it's okay. Just you can repeat after me. Shashamsha pitre tat sarvam Vayo rupa bhilambanam Vishmita parama pritas Tanayam pari shashvaje Shashamsha pitre tat sarvam Vayo rupa bhilambanam. Text 23. Yeah. Chapter 3. Vismita parama pritas Tanayam pari shashvaje Shashamsha pitre tatsarvam Vayorupa bhilambanam Vishmita parama pritas Tanayam parishashvaje. So yesterday was text 22. 9.3.23. 9.3.23. 2.3. It's the wrong verse there. Who wants to read? You can start with the Vaishnavis while they're getting ready. 23. Shashamsa pitre tatsarvam Vayorupa bhilambanam Vishmita parama pritas Tanayam parishashvaje. Shashamsa pitre tatsarvam Vayorupa bhilambanam Vishmita parama pritas Tanayam parisasvaje. Shashamsha pitre tatsarvam Vayorupa bhilambanam Vishmita parama pritas Tanayam parisasvaje. Anyone in the men? Today is the opposite. Sasamsa pitre tatsarvam Vayorupa bhilambanam Vishmita parama pritas Tanayam parisasvaje. Sasamsa pitre tatsarvam Vayorupa bhilambanam Vishmita parama pritas Tanayam parisasvaje. Anyone else? Dhruva Prabhu? No? Shashamsha pitre tatsarvam Vayorupa bhilambanam. Hare Krishna. Vismita parama pritas Tanayam parisasvaje. Okay. So Shashamsha, she described Pitre unto her father, Tat, that, Sarvam, everything, Vayaha, of the change of age, Rupa, and of beauty, Abhilambanam, how there was achievement by her husband, Vismita, being surprised, Parama Pritaha, was extremely pleased, Tanayam, unto his daughter, Parisasvaje, embraced with pleasure. Thanks, Prabhu. Thus, Sukanya explained how her husband had received the beautiful body of a young man. When the king heard this, he was very surprised, and in great pleasure he embraced his beloved daughter. So you can repeat after me. Thus, Sukanya explained how her husband had received the beautiful body of a young man. When the king heard this, he was very surprised, and in that great pleasure, he embraced his beloved daughter. So now I'll just read till the end of the chapter. Text 24. Chavana Muni, by his own prowess, enabled King Sharyati to perform the Soma Yagya. The Muni offered a full pot of Soma Rasa to the Ashwini Kumaras, although they were unfit to drink it. Text 25. King Indra, being perturbed and angry, wanted to kill Chavana Muni, and therefore he impetuously took up his thunderbolt. But Chavana Muni, by his powers, paralyzed Indra's arm that held the thunderbolt. Anvajanam stata sarve graham somasya chashvino bijas visajaviti yatpur purvam somahutya bahishkrutau. Although the Ashwini Kumaras were only physicians and were therefore excluded from drinking soma rasa in sacrifices, the demigods allowed them henceforward to drink it. Text 27. Utana barhir anarto bhurishena iti traya sharyater abhavan putra anarta drevato bhavat. King Sharyati begot 3 sons named Utana Bari, Anarta and Bhurishena. From Anarta came a son named Revata. So anta samudre nagarim vinirmaya kushashthalim astito bhungta vishayan anartadin arindama tasya putra shatam jagne kakudmi jeshtam uttamam. O Maharaj Parikshit, subduer of enemies, this Revata constructed a kingdom known as Kushasthali in the depths of the ocean. There he lived and ruled such tracts of land as Anartha, etc. He had 100 very nice sons, of whom the eldest was Kakudmi. Text 29. Kakudmi revatim kanyam svamadya vibhum gata putra varam pariprashtum Brahma-lokam apavritam. Taking his own daughter Revati, Kakudmi went to Lord Brahma in Brahma-loka, which is transcendental to the 3 modes of material nature, and inquired about a husband for her. Purport. It appears that Brahma-loka, the abode of Lord Brahma, is also transcendental above the 3 modes of material nature, apavritam. Text 30. Avartamane gandharve stito labdha shanashanam tadantadyam anamya swabhiprayam nyavedayat. When Kakudmi arrived there, Lord Brahma was engaged in hearing musical performances by the Gandharvas and had not a moment to talk with him. Therefore Kakudmi waited, and at the end of the musical performances he offered his obeisances to Lord Brahma and thus submitted his long-standing desire. Tat shrutva bhagavan Brahma prahasya tam uvachaha ahorajan nirudaste kalena hriddiye kritaha. After hearing his words, Lord Brahma, who is most powerful, laughed loudly and said to Kakudmi, O king, all those whom you may have decided within the core of your heart to accept as your son-in-law have passed away in the course of time. Text 32. Tat putra pautra naptrinam gotrani chanasrinmahe kalo vyatas trinava chaturyoga vikalpita. 27 Chatur Yugas have already passed. Those upon whom you may have decided are now gone. And so are their sons, grandsons, and other descendants. You cannot even hear about their names. Purport. During Lord Brahma's day, 14 Manus or 1000 Mahayugas pass away. Brahma informed King Kakudmi that 27 Mahayugas, each consisting of the 4 periods of Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali, had already passed. All the kings and other great personalities born in those yugas had now departed from memory into obscurity. This is the way of time as it moves through past, present and future. Text 33. Tadgacha deva devamsho baladevo mahabala kanya ratnam idam rajan nara ratnaya dehibo. O king, leave here and offer your daughter to Lord Baladev, who is still present. He is the most powerful, indeed, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose plenary portion is Lord Vishnu, your daughter is fit to be given to him in charity. Bhuvo bharavataraya bhagavan bhuta bhavana avatirno nijamshena punya shravana kirtana. Lord Baldev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who hears and chants about him is purified. Because he is always the well-wisher of all living entities, he has descended with all his paraphernalia to purify the entire world and lessen its burden. Iti adishto abhivan yajam nripasva puramagata tyaktam punya janatrasad bhratribhir dikshu avasthitaha. Having received this order from Lord Brahma, Kakudmi offered obeisances unto him and returned to his own residence. He then saw that his residence was vacant, having been abandoned by his brothers and other relatives, who were living in all directions because of fear of such higher living beings as the Yakshas. Last verse. Text 36. Sutam datva navad yangim balaya balashaline badari akhyam gato raja taptum narayanashramam. Thereafter, the king gave his most beautiful daughter in charity to the supremely powerful Baladev, and then retired from worldly life and went to Badrik ashram to please Narayan. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 3rd chapter of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, entitled The Marriage of Sukanya and Chavana Muni. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this chapter, chapter 3, is describing the marriage of Sukanya and Chavana Muni. So Chavana Muni is a great sage. So King Saryati is the son of one of the sons of Manu. So in the previous chapter, chapter 2, we heard about a lot of Manu's sons. And so one time King Saryati and his companions, they were cursed by Chavana Muni. So Chavana Muni, King Saryati, he wanted to perform a yagya. So he decided to go to the ashram of Chavana Muni along with his daughter Sukanya. So so Sukanya went there with the father, and there she saw like a hole, on the hole of an earthworm, and there was like 2 lights glowing from it. So she, by providence, she took a thorn and she put it in the hole of the earthworms, and it looked like, glowworm light. And then suddenly blood started oozing from that hole. And the sage Chavana Muni happened to be in that hole of the earthworm. So he was very offended. Actually, he was offended, and because he was offended, the king's soldiers, they experienced constipation. They were unable to pass any urine. So you can imagine their state, right? You're holding it in, and it's a very uncomfortable state. So then his daughter came and told him what actually transpired. She said, I saw this hole and I put a thorn in there, and then there's blood coming. So the king was very fearful, and he then went to the sage Chavana Muni. And then he was talking to the king, and the king inquired about his daughter indirectly. He asked for her hand. He said, is your daughter married or unmarried? So he understood the Muni's purpose, and he gave his daughter in charity to the Muni. So the Muni was at the time very old. He was an old, invalid person. Skin was hanging, could barely walk. He could barely walk. And you could see veins all over his body. Very, very thin. He had lost his muscle mass. So much so that he had to be carried various times. So the king's daughter, Sukanya, she married this Muni, and she was serving him very nicely. And then one day the Ashwini Kumara brothers, the two Ashwini Kumara brothers, they came to the ashram of Chavana Muni. And the Ashwini Kumaras are very youthful. They knew the science of Ayurveda. So he said, he offered them respects, and he kind of made a deal with them. He said, I'll give you the Soma Rasa, which you're forbidden to drink. In exchange, if you can give me my youth back. So he said, if you can make me a young man again, beautiful and handsome, I will give you this Soma Rasa to drink. So they agreed to that, and they had to carry him. As I was saying, he was invalid. He could barely even walk. So they had to carry him, and all three of them, they went in a lake. So this lake gives youth. The waters of this lake are very have healing properties. So they went in the lake and they came out. Then they were dressed with, they had lotus garlands, and they were looking so youthful. So much so that he was, Chavana Muni was identical to the Ashwini Kumaras. So when his wife now, Sukanya, she saw the three of them, she could not distinguish who's her husband. She was unable to tell who's her husband among the three. She was unable to distinguish her husband from the Ashwini Kumaras. Then, being a chaste wife, she did not make any assumptions, and she asked the Ashwini Kumaras, can you disclose your identity and also disclose the identity of my husband? Then they dutifully disclosed that he's your husband. He has received a youthful body. So Chavana Muni did that to please his wife. Because you can imagine what she would be thinking. My husband is so old. I'm so young. I'm the daughter of a king. And here I've married an invalid person. It's not a compatible match, at least on the physical level. Right? So, and then one day they were living together in the ashram. So one day, her father came, which is King Sharyati. So when he came, he was unable to, he made the assumption that she has given up her old husband in favor of a young man. So she's unchaste. And he chastised her. But she smilingly took the chastisement and then corrected her father that this is in fact, this is in fact my husband. So she narrated the pastime, the events that had unfolded. And then King Sharyati was very pleased. He embraced a daughter. And then King Sharyati went on to have children. Right? So he had some sons. He had 3 sons, Uttana, Bhari, Anartha, and Bhurishena. So Anartha had 100 sons. He had 100 sons. Inconceivable today. So back, the generation previous to mine, like my grandfather has 16, not 16, how many? 4, about 10 children. So big family. These days, if we have one child, 1 or 2 children, and you can handle them, that itself shows you're a very successful grihastha. But our previous generation had 10, 15, 20 children. So it's not surprising that back then, King Anartha had 100 sons, and the eldest of them was Revata. He was the eldest. And he apparently constructed a kingdom in the ocean. That's what it says here. He constructed a kingdom in the ocean. And his kingdom was called Kushasthali. His eldest son is Kakudmi, who's being described in these verses. So Kakudmi is the eldest son of Revata, and he has a daughter named Revati. So as any father, he was anxious to get his daughter married in due course of time. So he had a daughter of marriageable age, and he wanted to get her married to a suitable husband. And he was looking. He was searching, and so he went to Lord Brahma. He was able to go to Brahma Loka. He went there, and Lord Brahma was watching. At that time, Lord Brahma was watching a performance, a musical performance by the Gandharvas. And because he was watching the performance, he was busy. He didn't want to leave the performance, so he kept watching it, and he said, "You have to wait. I'm busy, I don't have time. So after this ends, I'll talk to you." So Kakudmi and Revati, they waited till the performance ended. And when the performance ended, they put the proposal forward. They requested, "Can you help us? Can you help me find a suitable match for my daughter Revati?" And then Brahma, he laughed very loudly. He said, "Do you realize how much time has passed? So since you have made this request, 27 Chatur Yugas have passed since you made that since you came here, and you waited till the performance ended. 27 Chatur Yugas have passed." So we can see that time operates in different dimensions in different places. So in the higher realms, the dimension of time is much different to what is here. And from the Vedas, we understand that time is cyclic. It's not linear, right? And time is measured in atoms. So it is described that, we measure time in our watches, and time is primarily measured by the movement of the sun. So it's measured by the movement of the sun over atoms, and like that, it's aggregated, and like that, the measurement of time is described. So Brahma has a very long duration of life. So now let's look at Brahma's lifespan. So Brahma lives 100 years of his lifespan. So the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the 3rd canto, 11th chapter, text 12, talks about time. It says, 2 solar movements make 1 day and night of the demigods, and that combination of day and night is 1 complete calendar for the human being. So it's describing time from our perspective. Generally, a solar movement is, I'm not a Vedic scholar or expert, but so I don't quite understand that, but generally a solar movement is taken, the earth orbits the sun. So one orbit of the earth around the sun is considered to be a solar movement. And that solar movement is equivalent of 1 year, of our 1 year or 365 days. But here it says 2 solar movements, so perhaps it may be, I don't know if it's referring to the passing of the sun from east to west or in this context. But what is important, that 2 solar movements is 1 day and night of the demigods. So in other words, 6 months to 2 6-month periods of the demigods is 1 year in our time. Yeah, is 1 year in our time. So one human year is equal to 1 day and 1 night of the demigods, right? So as per Vedic calculations, 1 year has 360 days. That's as per Vedic calculations. Therefore, so 1 year of demigods is how many years of our in human years? 1 year of demigod is 360 human years, right? So just like we have 7 days 12 months in a year, 7 days, 1 month, 12 months in a year. There's the 4 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali. So the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam in the 19th verse of the 11th chapter of the 3rd canto describes that the duration of Satya Yuga is 4800 years of the demigods. Treta is 3600 years of the demigods. Dvapar is 2400 years. And Kali-yuga is 1200 years of the demigods. So if we do some maths, so Treta Yuga is 4800 multiplied by 360, right? Which is 1,728,000 years, human years. Treta Yuga is 3600 multiplied by 360. So remember, 360 is 1 year of the demigod. 360 human years. That is 1,296,000 human years. Dvapara Yuga is 2400 by 360. That's 864,000 human years. And Kali Yuga is 1200 into 360. That's 432,000 human years. So if you add all of this up, you still with me? So if you add all of this, that is 4,320,000 human years. So that is called one yuga. So one yuga is 4,320,000 years. Or one yuga is also sometimes called a Mahayuga. Okay? So then the Bhagavatam in the 23rd verse of the 11th chapter describes that. So if you multiply the 4 yugas by 1,000, that makes 12 hours of Brahma, or that is 1 day of Brahma. Specifically, it's his daytime. So then 4,320,000 into 1,000, which is, 4 yugas into 1,000. So that comes to 4,320,000 human years. So 1 day of Brahma is 4,320,000,000 years of our time. And the similar is his night. So now you just do some simple maths. That comes to into 2. 8,640,000,000 years. That is just one day and night of Brahma. That is how much time has passed here on earth. Now Brahma lives 100 such years. So if we do some more maths, so his 1 day is 2 kalpas, okay? So 2 kalpas into number of days in a year, which is 360, into 100. So that comes to 311 trillion, 40 million human years. So that is Brahma's life, 311 trillion, 40 billion years on this planet. That's how long Brahma lives. So when Kakudmi, he went to see Brahma, 27 Mahayugas had passed. So 27 cycles of Satya, Treta, Dvapar and Kali had passed. And Brahma laughed and said that, you might have had in mind some suitable matches, but they're all gone. All the kings, their descendants, everyone's gone. There's no one left. So when you go there, when you go back to earth, there's a different generation living there. So now I propose to you, you give your daughter's hand to Lord Balaram, who's still around. Because he's Krishna's brother. And he lives much longer than Brahma. In fact, he's eternal, right? So we are eternal, the spirit soul is eternal, and the Lord is also eternal. So he said, Lord Balaram is still around. You can give your daughter's hand to Lord Balaram. And that's what happened. So we can see that that so many Brahmas come from the pose of Vishnu, right? So when Vishnu is lying down on the Garbhodak ocean, and so many like these bubbles, they come out like bubbles on the ocean, and within each of them there is, there's from the navel of Vishnu, there's a Brahma. So there's so many Brahmas coming out. So it's so insignificant. We are so insignificant. Even Brahma is insignificant. What to speak of us? So this puts things in perspective. We can see how insignificant our problems are when we look at from a very high level view. But we are just caught up in this tiny earth, in a tiny situation, and we are bewildered. So the spirit soul is transcendental to time. So in the 20th verse of the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it describes how the soul is transcendental, how the soul transcends time. It says, "Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita na bhuyaha ajo nityo shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane shrire." So it says, for the soul there is neither birth nor death. The soul is beyond birth and death. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. The soul is unborn, eternal, primeval, and ever existing. He's not slain when the body is slain. So we can see that the soul, we, as the spirit soul, are beyond time. And Krishna, being our source, is also beyond time. And in fact, Krishna says, "I am time." In the 11th chapter, after showing the universal form, he says, "Kalosmi lokakshayam kritam." He says that time I am, Kalosmi, the great destroyer of the three worlds. So time is Krishna's agent and is actually non-different from Krishna. And through time, he is enacting our karma. Right? So karma is there. And with the passing of time, our karma is, what we have done is fructifying. And time has a potency of destroying everything. So Krishna says, "Time I am the destroyer of the three worlds." And quite often in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, time is compared to a snake. The comparison is made to a snake. So if you've noticed, a snake, how does a snake consume its prey? By swallowing it, right? So a snake swallows its prey because it doesn't have, does it have teeth? No, it doesn't have teeth, right? Fangs, it has fangs. So the first a snake will poison its prey and then swallow it. So Prabhupada, one time he was telling this example. He said in Bengal one time there's a snake was swallowing a frog and the frog was still alive. The frog was, the snake has swallowed the frog up to its neck, up to the frog's neck. And then there was a fly going there, nearby, right, in front of the frog. And frogs have a long tongue, right? They go like that. So this fly was going and the frog is dying, It's just about to be fully consumed in the snake and it's the end. And he sees the fly and he's excited and then boom, he catches the fly and eats it. And there's this expression on his face of so much satisfaction and joy. So we are like that frog. We are consumed by the snake of time. So I am in my 40s. And so, most people live 70 to 80 years. So I'm probably half in the mouth of the snake. So, I'm already half there. So snake is, the snake of time is consuming us. So we can see time is very powerful. But we need to use the same time to hear the glories of Krishna, to engage in Krishna consciousness. So when we engage in the activities of Krishna consciousness in Bhakti Yoga, through the process of sadhana bhakti, then we are immune to the effects of time. Because Krishna is immune to the effects of time. Krishna is not impacted in the least by time. Time is one of his energies. From Krishna comes all potencies. And we are subject to the 6 transformations of time. So, 6 changes the material body goes through. We are born, right? We take birth, we grow, we have a childhood, kaumaram yauvanam jara, tatha dehantar praptir, dhiras tatra namuyati. So the soul goes through 6 changes by the influence of time. We are born, we grow, we become a man or woman, then we have some byproducts, get married, have children, then we get old and we die. So we are subject to time. But the soul is not subjected to this. The soul is eternal. But because we have rebelled against Krishna, we are put in this material environment which is subject to the 3 modes of nature. So this material world is subject to the 3 modes of nature, and therefore we are subjected to time. Though our body is temporary, but we are eternal. And somehow, because we identify with the body, we also think we think that we are going to die. But in reality, we are eternal. So Krishna is the Kala principle. And time can be our ally or our enemy. So if we use our time wisely, time is our friend. Right? So everyone has 24 hours in the day. No one has 25 hours or 36 hours. Everyone has 24 hours. And we are given with the choice, we have the free will to utilize those 24 hours. So most people in the world, they utilize that time simply in eating, sleeping, mating and defending. These are the 4 activities most people do. Most humans do. Too much time is spent on eating. And then so much of people's lives is spent in sleeping. Even Prahlad Maharaj did some analysis. And he said actually, he was analyzing people's lives. He said most people don't have much time because they're sleeping 8 to 10 hours. The average person sleeps 8 hours or even more. I was speaking with one colleague yesterday. I asked him what time he sleeps. He said 1 a.m. And then I said, what time you wake up? He said 8. And then he logs into work straight away. By 8:15 he's at work. He's logged in from home. And then I said, what do you do on the weekend? He said, weekend I sleep for 12 to 14 hours. So much time is just wasted in sleeping. Of course, we need to get proper rest. 7 to 8 hours, most people need it for the body to remain healthy. But devotees don't just enjoy sleeping, right? And then so much of time is gone in economic development, making money, and then in relationship affairs, so much time is gone. Then a lot of people do sporting, they have children, they're involved in kids' activities. And like this, their whole life passes away, and they're consumed by the snake of time. And then the time of death comes, it's too late. The human form, they didn't utilize the human form to its full potential, it's too late, and they're again back in the cycle of karma, in the cycle of samsara, sorry. But devotees, in that sense, time is the enemy of people. But if we can make time our ally, so if we utilize the same time, we also have the 24 hours, but if we kind of prioritize spiritual activities and give them some time, then we have more time for more spiritual activities and even other things. So we can simplify our life. So by chanting Hare Krishna, our life and priorities change, our life gets simplified, and then we have more time for devotional service and even more time to be materially successful. Because now we have focused, we have a goal. Whereas most people, they don't have an ultimate goal. They have temporary goals they're striving for, but they don't have an overarching goal. Whereas devotees know what the prayojana is, right? They know what the goal is. So they remain focused towards it. So Krishna is beyond time, and there's a pastime, a similar pastime in which the dimensions of time didn't apply to Krishna. So that is the Brahma-vimohana-lila. So you all know the Brahma-vimohana-lila? So one time Krishna in Vrindavan was playing with his cowherd friends and calves. As usual, every day they would go to the forest of Vrindavan, and they would enact their childhood pastimes with the gopas and the calves. So every morning they would leave their home, go to the forest, have fun. And one time they're going in the forest, and generally forests have snakes. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was walking with my wife in Werribee Park Mansion. We were walking there, and we decided to explore some gardens below, next to the river, some veggie gardens. And as we were walking on the trail, we came across a brown snake 2 meters away from us. It looked very beautiful, the sun, hitting its body. It was light brown, kind of greenish. It was maybe 1.5 meters long. So we both got scared of each other. The snake was scared of us, and we were scared of the snake. And then we went our separate ways. So if you go in such places, generally there is wildlife. So the gopas, calves, and Krishna were in the forest, and they came across this huge thing. It was Aghasura. Aghasura was the brother of Bakasur and Putana. And Krishna had killed Putana and Bakasur. So he was very, very angry, and he wanted to take revenge from Krishna. Not only from Krishna, from the entire village of Vraj. He wanted to take revenge. So he assumed, by his mystic powers, he assumed the form of a python. And this python happened to be 8 miles long. 8 miles is a big snake, right? How big is an anaconda? How lengthy they can grow? 4 meters, 5 meters? Big snake, right? Maybe 10 meters. I don't know how big they get. But it has a thick body. They're found in the Amazon forest. So Aghasura became a python, and happened to be 8 miles long. And then it opened its mouth like this, there. He was just sitting there, opened its mouth, and it looked like a massive cave. It looked like a cave opening. So the gopas were there, and to them it looked like a cave opening, and there was this foul smell coming from the cave. Some dead carcasses. And then the tongue was rolled out. So the tongue was rolled out, and out of curiosity, they wanted to explore the cave. So most people, when they see a cave, they want to explore it. The boys in Thailand, some years ago, they were trapped in the cave. There was a whole global mission to remove them, to save them from the cave. They were also exploring, but then the water came inside. There was a heavy downpour, and the water came. They were stuck. So the children, the gopas, they wanted to explore. So they all went inside. And one of them even few of them thought, this looks like a snake to me. This looks like a big python, looks like a demon. But it's okay, Krishna's on our side. Krishna's got our back, we'll go inside. So they all went inside, and Krishna was standing there. He figured it out, that's a demon. And he thought, okay, now they've gone inside. He was thinking for a moment, and then he also went inside. And when he went inside, the Aghasura, he shut his mouth. And due to the poisonous gases and the venom inside the snake, the gopas, they fell unconscious. Perhaps even the calves also went inside. So they all were unconscious. And then Krishna, because they were unconscious, now Krishna could manifest his form. He could expand. But previously he didn't want them to see him expanding because their awe and reverence would come back, right? So he didn't want them to see him as God. So he expanded himself. He became very big, and Aghasura also expanded himself, but Krishna expanded himself quicker and much more. So he basically choked a snake. So Aghasura choked and he died. And then the mouth opened and Krishna revived them and they all came out. So when they all came out of the snake, they were, the Gopals were like, wow, Krishna, you killed the snake, this is amazing. There was so much excitement. And he said, okay, now let's go and have some lunch. We're getting hungry. So they were exploring and they went to the banks of the Yamuna, and they found suitable soft sand, nice grass, and they sat there and they had their lunch. So generally, when such incidents would happen, when Krishna would kill the demons, the Gopals, etc., would go back home in the evening and tell their parents. They would tell the whole community what had happened, naturally out of excitement. So Maharaj Parikshit was listening to the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and then he asked Shukdev Goswami, how come they told their parents after 1 year that Aghasura has died? Why did they tell him after 1 year? So he picked up on it. And he wanted to know. So then Shukdev Goswami described the Brahma-vimohana-lila. So when Krishna and the Gopals were at the banks of the Yamuna, they sat in concentric circles. So Krishna sat in the center, and it looked like a lotus flower. So the Gopals were in concentric circles around Krishna. And all of them felt that Krishna was sitting right in front of them, though they were in concentric circles. And so they were feeding Krishna their lunch, and they felt Krishna is right in front of them, and they're sharing the lunch, and they're having lunch together. So the calves were left. The calves were left on the pasture. So the calves were having the grass, and they wandered away, as they do. So the calves in time, they wandered away, and then the Gopals, they realized, actually our calves are not there, because each Gopa was in charge of many calves. They were entrusted to them. So they were in great anxiety because they lost their pets. So they were in so much anxiety, and they said, we'll go and find them. Krishna said, no. You all continue enjoying your lunch. I'll go and find them. So Brahma had heard about Krishna's exploits. So with time, Brahma had heard about Krishna's various exploits. He had killed Putana, Bakasur, and he also heard that he had killed Aghasur. And Bakasur was killed, and then Putana was killed, and now Aghasur was killed. So he was like, how is this possible? Though he knows Krishna is his worshipable deity, but he was bewildered by Krishna's potencies. He was bewildered, and he was surprised, how can a young boy do this? Let me pull a prank on him, or let me test him. So then, when the calves went away, Krishna went to follow them. He captured the calves. He kidnapped the calves and put them in a cave. So Krishna was looking. Krishna went in the caves, he went in the forest, he went everywhere. He couldn't find them. He came back. When he came back, the Gopas are also gone. So Krishna understood what's going on, but he played along. He went along with Brahma's trick. He thought, okay, I'll fool Brahma. So he pretended he didn't know, and then he's looking here and there. Krishna is in so much anxiety. So Krishna wanted to teach Brahma a lesson, but also he had to go home. He had to go back home that day, and all the Gopas were also supposed to be at home in the evening, in the late afternoon. So then Krishna expanded himself as he expanded himself and as replicas of the cowherd boys and the Gopas, exact same replicas, same clothing, looked the same behavior, same mannerisms, same personality, everything the same. So when the Gopas were kidnapped, Balaram wasn't there, because that day happened to be Lord Balaram's birthday. So he was kept at home. So Brahma could not kidnap Lord Balaram. So Lord Balaram was not there. And then in the evening, they went back home. Everything was normal. But because they were the expansions of Krishna, and the cowherd women, they had a desire to have Krishna as their son. Because Mother Yashoda had Krishna as his son, they also had the same desire. They were like, when can we have him? So Krishna fulfilled their desire by, coming to them in the form of their sons. So in such way 1 year passed. So 1 year passed, and because their children were actually Krishna, they felt more love towards their children. They were somehow, so much more attracted to their children and showing so much affection. And the same thing happened with the cows. The cows were also showing a lot of affection to their calves because it's Krishna. So then, when it was 5 or 6 days prior to a year passing away, Lord Balaram asked, what's going on? He noticed something's not right for a while. And one time Lord Balaram, he saw that the Gopas had taken the cows out to pasture on the Govardhan hill, and the cows were at the base of the hill. So when the cows saw their calves, and if you've been to Govardhan hill, there's a lot of trees and there's rocks. So the cows, they were spontaneously attracted by the calves. And since in the previous 1 year, the cows had given birth to more calves, but they were attached to the older calves because they were Krishna. So when they saw the calves, they immediately ran down the mountain, despite the obstacles on the way, the forest and the stones, the terrain. Basically, ignoring the terrain, they just went down the rough terrain. And the cowherd men were surprised, like, what's going on? Why? And they were angry. So they were angry at the calves, and when they went down to chastise the cows, they saw their sons there, or the Gopas, and then immediately they forgot their anger and they embraced their sons because they were also Krishna. So Balaram, he witnessed all this and he thought, something is not right here. This is not normal, such kind of affection. So he asked Krishna, what's going on? And then he figured out, actually, Krishna has expanded, and Krishna told him, this is what has happened. And then after 5-6 days, 1 year had transpired, but in Brahma's time, it was only one moment. So Brahma had only pulled the prank for only a moment, because Brahma knew 1 year would pass. And then Brahma was, oh no, I don't want to risk it too much also, because this is Krishna. I'm playing with fire. So 1 year had passed, and then Brahma came back and he saw they are still there on the banks of the river, they're having their pastimes, everything is normal. And Brahma was bewildered, what's going on? And he went in the cave, he saw in the cave they're still there, and when he went back, they're having a normal time. So back and forth, his head was spinning, he was totally bewildered. And then he realized that this is Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan. I've made a big mistake. Oops. And then all the calves and Gopas, they manifested their true forms. And then he realized, oh no, what have I done? He asked for forgiveness, offered obeisances, and offered the prayers of Lord Brahma, which are in the 10th canto. So that is this amazing pastime where Krishna is not subject to time. Krishna is above time. He's not subject to the influence of time. And we can see that. So we are very lucky to be present in this moment in Kali-yuga, because this moment is also special. Because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he descended 500 years ago. So Kali-yuga started over 5,000 years ago, but the golden age only started over 500 years ago. So, the Kali-yuga is a very difficult time to practice bhakti. It says in the first canto also, Prayana alpayasha sabhya kalavasmin yuge janaha manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadrutaha. It says, in this iron age of Kali, men have but short lives. So we have short lives, we are quarrelsome, we keep fighting with each other. There's so much conflict going on. Interpersonal, societal, national, international conflict going on. We are lazy, spiritually lazy. Some people are materially also very lazy. They don't have any drive, any motivation. They're just sitting there, sleeping, in daydreams. We are misguided, totally misguided, in everything, but especially with spirituality. Unlucky, and always disturbed. So these are our qualifications. But in Kali Yuga, there's one good thing. Kaler dosha nide rajan asti hi eko mahan guna. Kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param rajet. He said, although the ocean of Kali is, the age of Kali is an ocean of faults, there's one good quality. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, by engaging in the Sankirtan Yagya, one can be free from material bondage. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared 500 years ago. One of his purposes was to revive the chanting, the Yuga Dharma of Harinam Sankirtan, and to give everyone a chance to go back home, back to Godhead, and to achieve the highest realms of Prema Bhakti, following in the footsteps of the gopis. And he came to enact all of that. So the first 10,000 years, the 10,000 years since his appearance is actually the golden age. So we're very fortunate to be in the golden age, and we are just at the start of the golden age. It's only 500 years or so have passed. Another 9,500 years have to come. But with the advent of Kali-yuga, the conditions of Kali-yuga deteriorating by every passing day. We can see people are getting more and more violent, more disturbed, more unlucky. People are getting more misguided. Our life's duration is reducing, though our span of life might be increasing due to medical science, but the quality of life is reducing. And people are more and more disturbed. There's so much mental illness, anxiety, stress, right? So people are very disturbed, very difficult to practice bhakti. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made an exception. He has appeared and given this benediction. Whoever takes to bhakti, they can circumvent the traditional process of self-realization, which is gradually to go through the different stages of yoga, come to the Brahma-bhuta platform, and then come to bhakti. He says you can come to bhakti directly simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord and by engaging in devotional service in the association of devotees. So that is our great benediction that we have, and we can make the most of it by applying it in our lives and also sharing this with other people. So by giving this good fortune that we have received to other people, in showing no discrimination, in sharing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also did not discriminate who he gave his mercy to. He gave it to Jagai and Madai, and also he gave it to the elites of society. He gave it to the ruffians, rogues like Jagai and Madai, but also to the elites of the society like Prakashananda Saraswati and others who were at the time the elites, social elites. So Mahaprabhu didn't distinguish, shared his mercy, and Prabhupada has also come to share that same mercy. And Prabhupada also did not distinguish in sharing. Prabhupada established the distribution of Mahaprasadam. Prasadam, we can see so many restaurants are there all over the world, distributing prasadam liberally in the temples. So people get the mercy by having prasadam. They listen to a Harinam on the streets, they come to the temple, they can see the deity, Radha Ballabha, engage in kirtan here. There's so many other centers, like Bhakti Vrikshas, Western outreach centers, where people can come and receive the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that way make their life successful. So we'll end here and see if you have any questions or comments.
How to absorb in lotus feet of Krishna?
Sorry, how to absorb?
In the lotus feet of Krishna. Our absorption.
How to have our absorption on the lotus feet of Krishna? Well, one way is to come to the temple and to look at the lotus feet of Radha Ballabha, Shri Gaur-Nitai, Jagannath Baldev and Subhadra. So the lotus feet are available to us. We can come to the temple and take in their form, starting from their feet all the way to their face and head. So by doing this very practical meditation, by chanting Hare Krishna, so when we are chanting the holy name, we are associating with Krishna directly. By being in the association of devotees, we are reminded of Krishna. And being in the association of devotees, we are engaged in service. So in that way, we can remember Krishna and his lotus feet. And by reading the pastimes in the Krishna book.
So what you are saying is association is number one.
Yes.
Then reading Prabhupada books, chanting the holy name, and deity worship, and prasadam.
ABCD.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mahatma.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you were talking about the age of Brahma, the lifespan of Lord Brahma. So I wanted to ask, do the residents of Brahma Loka also have the same amount of, like the same lifespan as Lord Brahma? And can we go back to Godhead through Brahma Loka, or do we have to come back to earth to go back to?
Yes, describe that Brahma Loka. Question is, do the residents of Brahma Loka have the same lifespan as Lord Brahma? And if we get to Brahma Loka, can we go back to Godhead from there? Rather than coming back here. Because generally if you go to the higher realms, Shinya, Punya, Martya Lokam, you have to come back to the earth, right? So she's asking, if you go to Brahma Loka, can you go back to Godhead from there? Because in the previous verses described that Brahma Loka is above the three modes of nature. So yeah, to answer your first question, do the residents of Brahma Loka have the same lifespan? I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm assuming they have what I know for sure, they have a very long lifespan, but I don't know if they have the same lifespan as Brahma Loka. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Anyone? Scholars? Do you know the answer? Don't know. Okay, second question. So, do people from there, you can go back to Godhead? Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is yes. Is that right? Or
they say that in the universe, dissolution happens and Brahma goes back to God.
yeah, Brahma goes back to Godhead. Doesn't say about others. But generally the qualification for going back to Godhead is to be free from anartha and nivritti, right? And to develop love for Krishna. So that's the qualification. But we don't have to go to Brahma Loka to go back to Godhead. We have the opportunity to go back to Godhead from here. So let's not take a detour. So better just execute bhakti in this life very sincerely with great focus and determination, and then we can go back to Godhead from here. If Krishna desires to take us to Brahma Loka, then so be it. Then you'll go to Brahma Loka. But Prabhupada said you can go back to Godhead right from here. So that's what we need to focus on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Today's board shows 9.4.1.
Yes. Why? I explained that in the beginning, that because in preparation for this class, I was listening to Burijan Prabhu's lecture yesterday, and he spoke on verse 22. So I assumed that today will be verse 23. But I didn't realize that Aniruddha Prabhu the day before had completed the chapter. So that's why my preparation was for this chapter. That's why. Were you here yesterday, Prabhu? Yes? No? Yes. Day before? You were here. Okay. So you've heard it twice. There's no loss in hearing twice, right? It's ever fresh. So tomorrow will be verse number 1, whoever's giving. Thank you very much. Granth Raj, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki